Morning to you.
Morning, Mike. Good to be with you.
Now, Rukura, I watched you live, as is my wont on a Friday afternoon, beaming out next to Tuku and Co. You've got to stop making announcements on a Friday because you're missing, because this is what you guys live for, isn't it? It's about growth, investment, success, billions of dollars, what could be, and there you were, wasting your time on a Friday. So that be that.
I work Fridays though.
No, I know, but the rest
media types may not. But I am working pretty hard on Fridays.
The rest of the country don't. But let me ask you several questions about it. One, how big do you think it will be? Two, why is it we don't hear more about that side of the Māori economy? Yeah. And only the bad side of the Māori economy? Well,
both questions really good. I mean, the first thing is that's exactly what I've been talking to iwi leaders about now for probably the last year. We want to get on, get money devolved, get them cracking, get them investing exactly as they're doing there. That's a great story. I mean, that's $1 billion worth of investment coming into the Waikato. That's there's a big inland port there. They can able to expand out that hub that they're building. That's 45% of the population of New Zealand, about 50% of the GDP tied up that's going through that place, connecting Tauranga Port with Auckland Port and all the other ancillary bits that are happening as a result. So, that's why I invited iwi to the Infrastructure Summit, because they are good partners. They've built a lot of commercial savviness actually over the last 30 years post-settlements, and that's exactly what you want, is you want them actually firing up and following the same going for growth plan that we've got as a country happening with iwi as well. So that is the opportunity for us to do that work. But no, pretty exciting stuff.
Can you explain to us then, why is it you look at Tuku and Co and Ngāi Tahu, their water resource case in Christchurch aside, successful parts of the Māori economy, where's all the money gone? Why are there so many Māori in deprivation, hunger and poverty and all the other issues? Where's it all gone?
Well, actually, that's the nature of the conversations that we've been having, is that they're in the same position that we are in as a country, is you need the economy fired up, you need a bigger economic engine so that you can deal with the issues that you've got socially, better public services, health, education, all that stuff, housing. And so some of our iwi obviously are pretty well resourced now. They've grown their funds. I was even at, where was it, Rokawa, I was meeting with them last week, an iwi. They got $50 million settlement. Well, they've turned that into $260 million in a pretty short period of time. And they are actually investing that money back in. But that's my conversation with them as well, is right, well, what more can we do to get our kids to school? What are we doing to improve maths and reading across the piece? What are we doing around health and vaccination outcomes? And those are the same conversations we're having at a country level that we need to be having together, government and iwi. And there's good alignment on those conversations, frankly, behind the scenes. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Okay. Speaking of which, related, the Sea Lord loss, what are you going to do with it?
Sorry, the
Sea Lord.
Well, I mean, that'll be a decision for Shane Jones to work through.
Well, he claims it's the government. So is it Shane Jones or the government?
Well, let's see. I mean, I'm going to let him digest it.
You can do one of two things. You're either going to write a check or you're going to appeal. So which is it?
I'm not sure. I'm not briefed on that. I'll let Shane deal with that first.
Okay, over what time frame? Is this pressing, or is it you're just going to let it ride? Or because it's a significant loss. I don't understand. Sure. Well, you give allocation. They took you to court. You took it away with no compensation. You've lost. So you either think you've lost illegitimately, so you'll appeal, or you owe somebody some money.
Yeah, in fairness, that decision we'll have to talk through as a cabinet. Shane will lead us through those conversations. We haven't had a chance, to be honest, Mike, to talk that through yet.
Okay, world leaders calls. How many? Have we got anywhere? And is Winston Peters right in saying you're a bit hysterical?
I think actually, I don't know, that's a real media beat up, that story, because actually if you think about what he's actually saying, we're saying the same thing, which is that we've been pretty cool, calm and collected in responding to this thing. I think commentators would admit that. My calls to leaders are doing exactly the same thing. Where are you at? How are you responding? It's important everyone has cool heads. The second thing is they're good conversations, because it's like, what more can we and should we be doing in a bilateral sense? And the third thing is that I'm making sure that the blocks like the EU and the CPTP and ASEAN, what we don't want them doing is tit-for-tat tariffs between each other. We want to make sure that they are affirming the rules operating within dispute mechanisms that we've got in place. We don't need the pressure going the other way across the different blocks.
And
on the US, I just say, look, we've got a positive, constructive relationship with the US, and we'll continue to do so.
Okay. As far as have you actually made any progress, though, short of bringing these people up? Has anything actually happened?
Well, what is happening is, if I think about my conversations with Singapore, the thought of, right, well, what more could Singapore and New Zealand be doing? We have a work plan in place. that the Prime Minister Wong and I have been working through, and we both made a commitment, hey listen, we should get our teams back together again post his election, and very quickly with the Australians work out what more could the three countries actually be doing together. How could we accelerate what we're doing? We want to move to what's called a comprehensive strategic partnership. Those are the sort of things that we can do more of.
See, one of the things that concern me about you ringing the EU is the EU free trade deal we've got. It's a crap deal. It's nothing like the UK deal or the UAE deal. So are you suddenly turning them into free traders when they're not really free traders?
Well, I saw media reports suggesting that the EU would join CPTPP. They've got 27 countries inside there with a range of views. That would be an absolutely mother of a process to get them into CPTPP, to be honest with you. But what I'm trying to avoid is you've got CPTPP, which is 15% of the global economy. You've got the EU trading bloc, which is another large percentage of the global economy. What you don't want happening is countries within those two blocks actually landing reciprocal tariffs on each other as well. In terms of, that's what I'm saying, we don't want trade wars, we don't want tariffs, we don't think that's good.
Sure.
And there are disputes between different blocks and between countries within different blocks. And so you've got to say, hang on everybody, keep calm, follow the rules. If you've got a dispute, don't go off and level a tariff against another country and another block, or a block between a block. And so that's the nature of that conversation.
Just for the record, so Peters wasn't referring to you would argue he was referring to general global reaction.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't sort of understand why the media is beating this thing up, because
that's what the media does.
Yeah, but the bottom line is,
and that's why the trust level's at 32%.
Yeah, well, you can say that. I wouldn't possibly comment, Mike, about your industry's popularity. But I'd just say, we as a cabinet had a good conversation about this right from the get-go. Stay calm, stay cool about it. Let's work our way through it very, very reasonably, maturely. We're doing that. Obviously, Winston's involved, I'm involved, Nicola's involved, Todd McClay, even Judith's involved. And the five of us, I think, are all being pretty consistent. Calm, keep constructive and positive with the US, advance bilateral relationships where we can. That's the work I've been doing for the last 16 months. This is the reason I've been out in the world trying to do this sort of thing. That's why we've been to Vietnam and UAE, and we're going to the UK. And
I'll talk about the UK. I'll talk about the UK in a moment. As far as the Chinese are concerned, they reached out to Australia last week and said, let's join. Did they reach out to us as well or not?
Not that I'm aware of,
okay.
But I'd just say, we have an independent foreign policy. I act in New Zealand's national interests.
Of course.
And that's what I focus on.
They did suggest, somebody suggested they could be part of the CPTPP. Is that possible? Is it more possible now than it was previously?
Well, I don't think anything changes with the CPTPP in the sense of China has applied for membership of the CPTPP, as have a number of other countries. We have what are called the Auckland Principles. So you've actually got to say, are you a good free trader? Have you upheld laws? Do you have consensus from all the other members to come into the agreement?
Well, they fail on all of that, don't they?
Well, let's see. But there'll be a number of countries that we have to assess through that sort of lens, because you actually want people who are genuinely committed to free trade and are going to be good traders in that system. So it's not to say that China would or wouldn't be, but the point is there is a process, and you have to have that criteria. Otherwise, you sort of undermine what we've done.
The 9 billion, I don't think I've asked you this since it got announced, the 9 billion, the new money for defence.
The incremental new money for the next 4 years.
What magic are you pulling out of a hat in the budget to find that?
You're quite sceptical about our ability to find it.
I've seen your books and they don't look good. I don't know where your 9 billion is.
No, look, it is within our fiscal track, and all will be revealed in the budget.
What does that mean? What does that even mean?
What it means is that we understand what we've committed around delivering within our operating allowances at the next few budgets, which we understand.
So how far out are you going down your track? How far is your track? Is it a 15, 20-year track, is it?
No, what I just say to you is we are on track to manage that investment and that commitment with the settings that we've got. In a
way, you're going to have to come here on the Monday after the budget.
I'm going to come and see you, and you're going to go,
I know
Chris,
about
that's
numbers.
Brilliant. You've actually managed to do all of that defence spending within your financial setup.
God bless you, and I hope you can, and the decision's a good one, but I just don't know where the 9 billion's coming from.
Look, rest assured, we think we can manage it within our fiscal settings that we've got. The second thing is each of those business cases come before the Cabinet to make sure that we're getting good value from them.
Okay.
And we have a formal 2-year review, because frankly, if the economy gets better, I want to be able to tip more money into defence over time.
Okay.
The cool thing about that, Mike, just on that is there's actually some amazing New Zealand companies doing some incredible defence work.
That was the news that came out of it for me. I didn't realise.
And there's actually a fledgling defence industry, and it's amazing. We've got companies here providing the Brits with kit and equipment that they should be providing with us as well. So it's a good economic thing as well.
Okay. Britain, why? What tangibly, I mean, it's always good to go to Britain, who doesn't like going there, but what tangibly is going to come out of this?
Really, Britain is really a couple of things. One is to first and foremost see the King, which was due to happen last year, but didn't, obviously, with his health issues. Secondly, to spend time with Keir Starmer. We'll actually have a good whack of time together to go through, and first of all, we're going to go actually see our troops in the south of England that are working with the Brits training Ukrainian soldiers. Then we'll have our formal 10 Downing Street bilateral, which is a chance to talk about some of the economic stuff, but also the security stuff that's happening in the region, but also around the world, and how more we can collaborate. The Brits, we're a long way away from each other, but they're good historical partners of ours, and we want to keep reinventing that relationship.
Well, the good news is I'm not taking a holiday, so I'll be here next week, so you can ring me. It'll be nice.
I'll dial you in like 2 a.m.
No, you said
didn't I dial in from...
You did?
Where was I, India or somewhere?
You were in India, so you
I told you I would. I said I would, and I did it.
You can dial in from England next week. We'll see you next week. Is it next week you'll be there?
I'll be out on the weekend, and then in England, and then down to Gallipoli for the 110th anniversary, which will be pretty special.
All right, we'll talk next week. Appreciate it. Nice to see you.
Thanks,
12 minutes away from 8.